What's wrong? It's okay if you want to do your thing. If you want to fix your light, fix your light.
I can't. It's too broken. And then it'll
Okay.
flicker off in the middle, and that's worse.
Oh, it broke.
No, the cord is like coming loose, and I can't make myself throw it away because the whole thing works fine except the cord. But we don't fix things anymore. We throw them away, and I can't make myself throw it away. So we have a whole system where the cord is like bent around the thing and taped down, and I knocked it, and so it's off. And I'll get my daughter to fix it. She has the magic of the cord, and then she tapes it down for me, and then it works for a while.
That's hilarious. I love
Because I hate that we throw things away. Like, where can I take it? Literally needs someone to cut the cord, put a new jack on the end, and it would be perfect.
Yes.
But where is the place I can do that for less money than Amazon will bring me a new one this afternoon?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Anyway,
My
husband is one of those people. Like when Gabriel was very little, he was in early intervention, and he had this like Mickey Mouse toy. It was like a Mickey Mouse tool set, and it was a drill that you could press the thing and it would go.
Yes.
And it stopped working. It was only 2 or 3 years old, as expected with a plastic crap toy. It stopped working. My husband opens it up, doodles with it, puts it back together, and it starts working. And Gabriel's early intervention teacher was like sitting there watching him do this and just was like,
oh my God, you can do that? You can fix things?
Right?
Yeah.
If only you lived down the street, I would just walk it over and he would be done with it in like 5 minutes. It's like, it's actually something I could probably figure out how to do. I need to be bold and just like see if I can do it.
Watch a YouTube video. There you go.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
learning. I'm learning to make that a choice in my brain. Like, because that's Joe's answer to everything. He's like, if I don't know how to do it, I just watch a YouTube video and then I figure it out. Like he fixed the radio in my car when it was all like on the fritz and was acting bizarre. He literally had to take my whole,
like the whole dash?
The whole dash out.
Oh no.
Because it's a screen and he had to get into the console area. Yeah. I was like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, don't worry, I watched a YouTube video. I was like,
don't worry, I watched a YouTube video.
See, this is also a level of like bold and courageous and like confident around that kind of stuff that I don't have confidence in that area.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know enough to know that I would mess it up and the car wouldn't run anymore. Like the radio would be great, but you couldn't turn the car. You know what I mean? Like
you might surprise yourself. You might be like, damn, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah.
Can I share with you guys a funny story about fixing things and my mom?
Yes,
of course.
So
any mom story is favorite.
Oh my gosh. So Steve and I had just gotten married and we had borrowed his grandmother's car. It was a Nova, Chevy Nova. It was a rust bucket. I went over to my mom's for something and she's like, oh, hey, did you know your muffler is dragging? I'm like, no. Oh no, it wasn't the muffler. It was the bumper. The bumper, one side had like, right? She's like, hang on a minute, I'll wire it up. That woman got on her hands and knees under the car, wired my bumper back up to the car. Like, thanks, Mom.
I was wondering if she was going to MacGyver it with a wire hanger,
Yes.
She might have. I don't know what she used, but I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She fixed it.
Yeah. But that's that generation that would just like fix stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No YouTube, they're just gonna figure it out and fix it with like some MacGyvering, right? With some duct tape and a piece of wire and like a twist tie and off we go.
Yep.
Some packing tape never hurt anybody.
Yeah. Exactly.
Matchstick.
Yeah.
Bubble gum.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So
amazing.
Funny. All right. Well. Hello and welcome to Smiling Souls. This is Stephanie Keenan Ray and Wendy T. How you doing today?
Hey. Doing well. How about you?
I'm enjoying the energy today.
Are you enjoying? Oh my gosh.
This is going to be a fun show.
And it's really not even started yet, so buckle up. What's new with you, Steph?
Not much. I feel like a lot of things are happening.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, got a lot of little things going on, new workshops, new things. So I've just decided to do a workshop It's actually going to be, I'm going to do it 3 times.
Mm.
November 6th, November
Mm.
17th, and December 4th.
Ooh.
I'm going to run this workshop called Awaken Your Inner Radiance, a creative wellness workshop. So it'll kind of be a mini version of my 10-week Creativity Unleashed course, kind of give a little taste of what that course is all about. And so love to invite people who want to, you know, have a little time for themselves to find some calm, some clarity, some inner balance, and at the same time connect with their creativity and just have some fun. Basically do some self-care.
Perfect timing too, right before the holiday.
Right, exactly.
The
And that was kind of
stress.
that was the big thing that I was like, I need to do something during this time when people are stressed out of their gourd
Mhm.
and help them tap into some tools that'll be useful.
Right. Well, it's like a preemptive kind of a thing, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're so much more calm and radiant getting into the holiday season. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
this is going to help them have a calmer, happier holiday season.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
how do you get into this?
I will share the Zoom link to register in the show notes because yeah, it's just a Zoom link.
Yeah, easy breezy. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
Excellent. What about you? What are you up to?
Mm, all fun things. And, you know, we are so alike, like Stephanie and I, we just kind of do similar things, but different.
Mm-hmm.
And so November 12th, I am
Mm-hmm.
kicking off the Peaceful Pages Collective kickoff call.
Nice.
What this is going to be is twice monthly, probably more than that, as when we roll this out. It's going to be a place where you can come and your shoulders drop.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be peaceful. It's going to be calm. We're going to be doing some guided meditations. We're going to be doing some journaling prompts. This is an offshoot of the Self-Care Sanctuary Journal. We're going to be
Nice.
doing some bird watching. We're going to be doing some bingo, all of the things, right, to connect you again with the little girl that you used to be. Remember her? She liked to
Mm-hmm.
play. She liked to have fun. She was happy. She was calm. She was carefree. That's what this collective is going to be. So November 12th, 2 o'clock Central is the kickoff call. And like Stephanie, there is a Zoom link to register. I think it's first name, email address, bing, bang, boom, easy breezy.
Mm-hmm.
Join us, especially if someone I talked to told me this and I laughed my ass off. She said, are you wearing your shoulders like earrings?
Mhm.
So if you're wearing your shoulders like earrings, maybe consider joining us.
I feel like every time I hear you say that, I sit a little taller. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
Gosh, I was
feel
like, that's gold because yeah,
like
I've been there. I've been there. My shoulders have been up around my ears, and like my coach called me out on it many, many years ago. She's like, "Isn't that uncomfortable?" What? Yeah, I didn't know.
Good. You
What
look
do you
like my
mean?
Barbie that her head popped off one time when I was brushing her hair too hard. So then she was this Barbie.
That's kind of what I probably looked like, and I felt horrible, and I don't want that for anybody else. And so that's why I'm offering this, and that's why I do what I do. So
That's awesome.
thank you.
Excellent. And should we pull our oracle cards?
Yes, Steph, you go first because I have not pulled mine today. And I think I hurt my neck just by doing the shoulder thing. Oh my
Jesus, girl, come on.
gosh.
Yeah, it's kind of been a morning.
Ooh.
It's been a wonkadonk morning.
Yeah.
It's Friday and uh it's trash day here. And so most Fridays I'm like up and at it and doing the trash and getting Gabriel ready for school and do. Took me forever to get the trash out. I was just like, please just let's hope they're not being on the dot today because usually they take forever anyways. So, you know. Um then it seemed like Gabe was going to make the bus today.
Oh
Lately,
no,
since it's
it
become
seemed like
fall and it gets dark in the morning, we do not get out of the house on time for the school bus, and the school
that's
bus
rough.
keeps coming earlier and earlier
Oh
because I
no.
think no kids are making the bus in the morning.
Oh, gross.
So
Dang it.
I thought we were going to get out on time, And then he just kind of dilly-dallied. And so then I had to drive him to school. And then I got to school, dropped him off, and I went, crap, because I looked and saw a kid with a musical instrument and went, it's the day you're supposed to bring your saxophone.
Whoops.
This just started last week, so it's another new habit that we're not into yet. So I had to drive back to the school with the saxophone, and then and then I had to finish the cleaning and hop on a coffee call, and I don't know, it just seems like a wonky donk morning, like,
It's
so
a
yeah, I
wonky
get
donk
it.
morning. And isn't it interesting how we always want the recycling and the trash guy to come late? Please come late. No rush. But like the Amazon guy or the furnace repair or the whatever,
Mhm.
it's like, get here as soon as possible.
Right. Well, and it was funny too because I looked around the neighborhood and I didn't see anybody's trash out. So I was like, wait,
Oh, is today the day?
right? Like I was like, it's not a holiday week. Last week was, but even then our city didn't acknowledge that one. So I was like,
Everybody forgot.
everybody just was behind the 8 ball, I guess. Yeah. All right. So Oracle cards.
Yes,
I
yes.
pulled Breathe, which I guess goes
That's
along with the Wonkadonk day.
perfect.
So it is Archangel Raphael.
Mm.
It says, take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy and relax and to release old patterns. Often during times of stress, you may unconsciously hold your breath. Yet, as you know, breath is essential to oxygenating your mind, body, spirit, and very life. Write a note to yourself to breathe as a reminder of its importance of invigorating yourself with deep and steady breaths. Make trips to places where fresh air is plentiful. You'll also notice an increase in air quality when you're near water, such as the beach or a lake. Even when taking a shower or bath, puts you in touch with the positive ions associated with water and air. Working with Archangel Raphael. His name means whom God heals, and he is known as the healing angel in charge of physical healings of all living beings. Often, Raphael gives us divine guidance, intuition, thoughts, ideas, dreams, and so on about how we can participate in keeping our bodies healthy. When you call upon Raphael for healing, pay attention to the inner impressions and be sure to follow through upon guidance that calls you to take action.
That's a good one. We for sure hold our breath. We forget to breathe. I just did a reel about this because it's so important in times of stress. We're like, that doesn't help. Holding your breath doesn't help.
It does not. It does
Like,
not help at all. Yep.
stops the brain from working properly and moving and all the things. So anyway, good card.
I also think it's funny that I'm wearing my saltwater heals everything sweater.
There are no coincidences.
Nope.
All right. So I chose a chance to share.
Ooh.
Authentic connection deepens love, healing, and understanding. This says you have so much love, friendship, and kindness to share. Pay attention to those around you and look for occasions to share your love. A lei may be given at any time and make the receiver feel special. Are you letting those in your life know you care? There is an old proverb that says, when you share with someone, you double the joy and halve the burden. Expressing your feelings and your heart's intentions can be challenging. You may struggle to show how deeply you feel for others. Letting your loved ones know they are special will foster a healthy and respectful connection. Use verbal and nonverbal acts of warmth to let others know you are thinking about them. Find small, significant ways to express your appreciation. Commit to weekly or monthly gatherings to build stronger connections. Okay. This talks to the Peaceful Pages Collective. 100%. Thank you for that. It does not have to be elaborate. Being in the company of people who love you is restorative. Sharing views and thoughts deepens respect, empathy, and understanding. Okay, and then it talks about the card. So a Hawaiian woman reaches toward the heavens while wearing a beautiful floral lei. I believe this is plumeria. I love plumeria. It's the best fragrance ever, in my opinion. This seems to show a longing for something that may be arriving soon. It may be that she is expressing her feelings to the universe. In sharing her love, it is released so it may return to her tenfold. Her arms are outstretched to the atmosphere as if she is joyfully receiving her blessings. Yeah, good card. And now I get to pull Suzanne's card. And so, Suzanne, I'm going to shuffle the deck. And then you just tell me when you feel like I should stop.
Ooh, this feels like a lot of pressure. Okay, I'm just like riding the wave.
No pressure at all. Just like when you get that feeling like, oop, that's it. That's my card.
Oh, it's that one. The one on the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah, the one you just passed.
oh, that's
I love dolphins.
Okay, well, let's see what this card says. This is 40. Lighthearted kindness. Connect to the joy of being. Okay, beautiful. Here's 40. Lighthearted kindness. Okay, beautiful. When did you last spend time with your friends and family in laughter and playfulness? In your day-to-day life, it is easy to focus on tasks, work, errands, and chores. Dolphins are thought to present themselves when you would benefit from recreation and enjoyment. Joy, laughter, and fun will help reduce your stress and give you some respite. Pay attention to any impulses you have to create harmony and balance. Actively love yourself and those in your life a little more. Laughter is a significant part of Hawaiian life. Hawaiians recognize laughter as one of the ultimate emotions and a wholesome form of connection with the gods. Aka, the Hawaiian word for laughter, translates as expand and rise. Laughter raises your spirits, restores your body, and boosts your ability to connect with the divine. Should have gotten this last week when we talked to the laughter yoga woman.
I know, right?
Oh, it would have been perfect.
Right. But there are no mistakes.
Nope.
Share in the support of your circle of like-minded people. If you feel displaced, search for a group where you can be yourself. Celebrate what you have in common with others and grow a nurturing environment. Okay, it talks about the background, which I think is important. So Hawaiians consider dolphins to be friendly guides as they love to surround boats, surfers, and swimmers. The spinner dolphin, which is the dolphin here, represents the abundance of the Hawaiian Ocean. It jumps joyfully out of the water and spins playfully in the air. The dolphin has wide allure as the gifted mammal charms almost everyone they encounter. Additionally, the dolphin is thought to transcend cosmic dimensions. They can intuitively take you on a soul journey and reconnect you to the unlimited possibilities of your expansion. Suzanne.
Oh, that's juicy.
Juicy.
Such good cards.
It's a good card. And what a way to kick off and welcome our guest. Oh gosh, I don't have the tab open. Here it is. Here it is. I found it. So it is our pleasure to welcome to the Smiling Souls podcast, Suzanne Jabour. Suzanne is a grieving mom who has found meaning in her loss through providing grief education, sharing how grief really works and how we can support people experiencing it. She guides grievers to chart their own path through her conscious and curious grief method. She offers a regular rotation of workshops for grievers and people supporting them to share the information, skills, and tools that will allow us to respond to grief in a more meaningful way. Her TEDx talk, Grief is Hard, Let's Do Better, is changing how we understand and respond to grief. She is available as a speaker to share her story and help normalize grief as a healthy response to losses big and small. She has a BA and a BEd and decades of experience as a trainer. She is a certified grief educator, a transformational coach, and workshop leader. Welcome to Smiling Souls, Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much for having me. And what a beautiful way to start our conversation with those cards. I love it so much. It's such a great idea.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
It's a first for me. I'm like, oh, we get to pull cards on this one. Yay.
I know you were like super excited about that. And then
I was
had
super excited about
forgotten.
that.
I'm like, I gotta get my cards. Wackadoodle morning, like Stephanie said.
Wackadoo.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about you and like, you know, your background, you know, how you became who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's such an interesting question. And I've been doing so much contemplating about it lately because people have pointed out to me that I've actually been a griever my entire life. So we're going to fast forward to how I normally tell that story. I think like most people who are working in the grief space, I come to that through my own experience, through my own having to learn to figure out how to navigate the loss I was facing. And the loss that brought me to this work was the death of my son, Ben.
Yeah.
He died just over 5 years ago. I don't even understand how it's been 5 years. In September of 2020, he was 22. He died of depression and anxiety. And that loss was just a different flavor than the ones I'd had before. I want to preface this whole conversation by saying we have such incomplete language in English for grief and loss and death and all the things. So you end up using words that sound weird. So I'm going to say, you know, when Ben died, I remember feeling quite appreciative, which is going to sound weird, that I had already experienced losses of people really close to me, right? My dad died when I was in my early 30s, my mom when I was in my mid 40s, Ben died when I was 53. So it was not the first loss of someone close to me. And it was a completely different experience. I understood very quickly that I didn't know enough about grief to do it the way that I wanted to, the way that sort of felt healthy. And I knew that the sort of predominant story of a grieving parent, which is they kind of curl up in the corner and are never the same, right? They never recover. I knew that wasn't my story. That was not how this was going to go for me. And so if not that, then what? And having to kind of figure it all out and really seeing people who I knew had high emotional intelligence and really great connection skills and all kinds of really advanced skills in all kinds of areas disappear, which, as hurtful as it was at the time, I came to realize just meant they had a skill gap around grief. And something about a griever was scary. I get that. We can be very scary. I was a grieving out loud, grieving mom. I know I terrified people, and I had to be okay with that because I had to do what would keep me going and, you know, assume everyone else was adulting also and could find the skills and, you know, to be able to navigate being in my presence. But I know it was scary. I know, especially for folks who I was friends with because our kids had been friends. So they had kids the same ages as mine, that loss hit really close to home. And it's really hard to show up for someone whose loss feels so close to your life. And like, if it happened to me, it then all of a sudden could possibly happen to them, right? So I understand there was a lot of scary stuff going on. And as a collective, we have a real skill gap around grief. We don't understand it. We don't know how it really works. We don't know what to say. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to support people. We try our best. Unfortunately, at this point, our best is often inadvertently, you know, harmful. We don't intend to do harm. We intend to help, but we end up pushing people away. And what I really saw was that we're missing this incredible opportunity to create connection. And instead, we're all ending up isolated. Because I feel isolated as the griever because people aren't showing up. People who can't show up feel isolated because they really wish they could and they don't know how, and they're expending all their energy on that swirl. So there seems to me like this really rich opportunity for us to enhance our relationships instead of fracturing them apart. And we're all used to it just fractures people apart. And we kind of accept that as the norm. And I'm like, oh, no. This does not have to be this way.
Yeah.
Suzanne, when you said, that's not going to be me, I'm not going to be that grieving mother in the corner.
Mhm.
That is so powerful because we all get to choose how we navigate through certain situations. So how, like, how did that come to you?
I think there was a few realizations that happened right around the same time as each other. And because of the way grief impacts our brain, I don't know what came first.
Right.
But I had a number of realizations around that same time. One of them was that that story was not my story, that I was not choosing that, right? Because I'm 100% with you. I don't think things happen for a reason. I struggle with that idea. What I think is that things happen and we get to choose how to respond. And that's our journey on this planet, in this human experience, is learning better and better how to respond more healthfully, more wholly, more from ourself, who we truly are. So I was really aware that I needed to be very intentional in my response to this tragedy because it could shatter me into pieces. I knew I was shattered in pieces, but I wasn't going to stay shattered in pieces. So I had that realization that that wasn't going to be my story. I got the download and knowing that my path through this was conscious and curious, which is why that's now the name of the method that I use with my clients. Conscious was about allowing all of the emotions that would come in a tsunami and mess and storm to be okay. That they're just okay. No judgment, no attachment, no resistance, right? I knew if I, use that sort of North American, like take all the bad ones, stuff them down, put them in a box on a shelf, like that was going to make me physically ill. So I knew I couldn't do that. So conscious of the emotions. And then curious was about really just trying to stay sort of growth oriented, stay positive is too big a word because really the curiosity at the beginning, I literally remember standing in my kitchen, sobbing so hard I couldn't breathe. And having that thought of like, how this is my first remembrance of that real curiosity moment. How, when you're sobbing so hard you can't breathe, do you oxygenate your body? Because I knew that my body needed oxygen and it was not in this moment getting enough oxygen. And how on earth do you do that? And finding an expert or a podcast or a passing phrase that someone had said, and really just being so open to, what is possible. And really it was, early, I made a reel about this the other day. Like early curiosity was like, how do I get out of bed? How do I get through this day? How do I speak politely in the grocery store without screaming and running away? Right. It's that kind of stuff. That's the early curiosity. But then the curiosity led to me like, how do I take what's happened to me and help other people? How do I reach out a hand to help people that are a few steps behind me? Like, anyway, and the third realization that hit at a very similar time, and this is in the very, very early days, I had all of these realizations and I'm so, so grateful for them because it shaped how I went forward. The other realization was I knew the person I was before I got that middle of the night phone call didn't exist anymore.
Oh, wow.
I knew that version of me was no longer a thing. And so, and I could so clearly see this visual of, those big chunky puzzle pieces on Survivor. My life, myself, my essences, my qualities, my old stories, all in like big chunky puzzle pieces on the ground surrounding my feet. And my arms were already full of other big chunky puzzle pieces that I knew I had to keep. And having to decide, okay, do I try and pick up one more and lose all of these? Or do I look at those and go, okay, well, people pleasing, okay, I can leave that behind. I'm okay to take a step away from that puzzle piece, right? Pretending I'm having a great time when I'm not, I'm okay leaving that behind, right? Being very intentional about what are those pieces and do I want to carry them with me forward? And realizing that I was going to be a different person, whether I liked that, wanted that, or not. And I could either do that intentionally or it was going to happen by accident. And I didn't want it to happen by accident.
Yep. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think Wendy's in awe.
So the curiosity portion of this, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because it led you to the next thing and the
Yeah.
next thing and the next thing. And I think that is so important, because when you're not asking yourself, well, how can I? Or, oh, I just noticed this. When you're not doing those things, you just kind of, you stay where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe that's your comfort zone. Maybe that's your place. But when you're not moving forward, sideways, back, anything, what's happening? You're grieving. You're right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that was my thought.
Yeah. And I was so grateful to get those as partners. Right.
Right.
Because if I had only thought, oh, I have to feel all of these big, overwhelming, confusing, like horrifying emotions,
Mm-hmm.
that's really scary. But if you can partner that with curiosity,
Yep.
it lightens the load a little bit. And I don't want to make like, you know, if you're listening to this and you're in those early days of grief and it's all overwhelming and it's just a complete storm of caca, I don't want to lighten that. I have been there. And that's where I was when I was like, okay, how do I take a baby step? Like, how do I breathe?
Right.
You know, I loved when you pulled that card, Stephanie, because it was like, oh, and I write that to grievers all the time. Literally, a friend of mine had her best friend of 45 years die yesterday. And in our text message conversation, I was like, just breathe. Just remember to breathe. You have got to remember to breathe. I know we think this is automatic, but when our system is overwhelmed and our nervous system is in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, whichever one it's in, we can get that, or we're panic breathing, or like, just breathe.
Yep.
And so when I say curiosity and you think, oh my gosh, that's so like, that's a leap beyond where I am, I'm literally talking about curious about the next baby step. Right? What boundaries can I create? What structure can I put in place? You know, one of my daughters and my rules was that we would do one hard thing, and then the rest of our to-do list for that day was to breathe.
Yeah.
That was it. Because there's a whole bunch of really hard things that you have to do right after somebody dies.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, one hard thing. Today I will phone the cell phone company. It makes me well up thinking about it. Like, you have to phone the cell phone company to cancel the phone line of your child. That's a horrifying experience. And you hope that you will get someone on the other end of the line who knows a little tiny bit about how to deal with you.
Right.
And bless them, my cell phone company was amazing. All the awful things we hear about cell phone companies, that's one of the best phone calls I made. But for that day, that was the hard thing. And the rest of the day, breathe. That's it.
Yep.
So setting up some kind of structure, some kind of boundaries. You know, I remember us talking about, you know, this is a Glennon Doyle. She talks about it in her book about being really vigilant about who gets to come on the island. Like, we're on the island. We're actually doing okay. Like our version of okay, which is horrifying and awful and all the things, but we're okay with that. But if you're going to come to our island and you're going to spew all your not okayness, you don't get to come. Like, and we had to be very protective of our little island. So many ideas. And that's where the curiosity takes you, right? This is horrifying. How do I navigate horrifying? Or this is really scary. How can I navigate scary? Because we do still have to navigate it. Otherwise, what happens is we get stuck. And that seems to be one of the biggest fears about grief, that if we allow it, if we embrace it, then we'll get stuck there.
Yeah.
Right.
We actually don't, because what you embrace and welcome flows. What you resist, you get stuck there. But if you can turn towards the grief, allow it to be okay, even though it's terrible, it keeps moving.
Yeah. That's
Brilliant.
Awesome. It is.
Brilliant.
It was funny because like when you were saying that the puzzle pieces of like letting go of yourself, like who you were before, like at first I was like, oh, is that gonna be another layer of grief of letting go of that?
Yes.
But then the examples that you had, I was like, well, some of those seem like pretty easy ones to let go.
But I do, that's so great that you mentioned that, Stephanie, because I do remember thinking, this is so unfair.
Right.
Like, my child just died. I have no idea who I am anymore. And my brain doesn't work.
Mhm.
Like, how is this what's supposed to happen? This cannot be right. Like, that was my moments of resistance, right? Like, this cannot be what my experience is. This cannot be it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, it wasn't. But you have those moments where you're like,
Mhm.
how does this even make sense? Like,
Right.
this tragedy has happened. I don't even know who I am anymore or what's important to me. And I'm in this big contemplation and my brain doesn't work and I'm supposed to still be at work. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
how
it's
is
just-
this a
it
thing?
makes
Like, I
sense.
don't understand.
It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. And,
Doesn't
and I
make
love what you said about, no, you can't be on our island. Goodbye.
Like,
Mhm.
sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
not sorry.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And not with any judgment, but just in knowing that whatever
have
you
to
were bringing,
protect
wherever
whatever
you were
you
at.
have.
Yeah. And I didn't need people around me talking about how horrible life was for me.
Oh gosh.
That was not helpful.
No.
No.
Like, or how they couldn't possibly survive what I was actively surviving. I'm like, that is not helpful.
Not helpful.
That energy, not helping me. So, I will welcome you back someday or other, but it is not today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You might get to come back on the island, maybe.
Yep. And our island got bigger, right? Your island
Oh.
expands over time. Like, you pull it in when you need to. And then it's like, oh, okay. Like, we could welcome a few more people.
Huh.
We could test drive that and then go, ooh, yeah, that's kind of okay. Or, oh no, back we go. Right. Retreat. Yeah, retreat. Pull up the gate. Pull up the drawbridge.
Yeah. And that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. And that's okay. Because it was a really interesting experience in the best version of selfishness. Right? Because there's something really, we get kind of taught that being selfish is bad, especially as young girls and young women. Selfishness is bad. You're supposed to put everyone else first.
Such a load
Puzzle
of
piece that's
malarkey.
way back there. But that sense of, no, and I remember saying to my daughter, I can take care of myself. I have to put myself first or I will not survive. I'm 100% here for you.
Yeah.
And everybody else is going to need to adult. I can no longer be responsible for any of their stuff.
Yeah.
I love that.
So like I literally couldn't, like, I no longer had the ability or the capacity or the interest, frankly, but I literally couldn't. So it was like, okay, you're all on your own and you should be fine because you're also adults. There was no children that I needed to take care of. So that was a blessing, but
I feel like if you ever have an online store, Suzanne, you need to have a bumper sticker, shirt, whatever, something saying y'all need to adult.
Yeah.
Yes.
like everyone else is an adult. Well, they'll just have to adult.
That's right.
Hope
don't
you
need to
can
Oh,
parent
adult
them.
today.
Hope you get adult today. Just
Wouldn't the
saying.
world be better if we just all adulted more? It really
Yes.
would.
It really would.
You are not kidding on that
I'm not
aspect.
joking.
OMG. That's so funny.
So I was looking at something here, Suzanne, and I wonder if you could talk more about, you said you believe midlife women are swimming in a sea of grief, especially those who are HSP, so highly sensitive people,
Well, yeah.
right? Light bringers, evolvers, or lifelong learners feel deeply the pain of others in the collective grief we are experiencing. Oh boy, especially now.
Yep.
Can you talk up to that? Speak to that.
Sure. And then you're gonna have to send me to where I said that. That's really smart.
I mean, you're a smart cookie.
And
Isn't
then
that
people
something,
pull
though?
stuff and I'm always like, where and when did I say that?
They do the same thing. I'm like, that was brilliant. Did I say that? But no,
Right.
but you did say it.
I do. And I 100% believe it. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I actually think a whole bunch of the symptoms that are that we attach to perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause are actually unexpressed grief. I actually think a whole bunch of it is our bodies finally going, you know what? Enough. Like our hormones have gone wild. And you haven't dealt with all this emotion because you've been so busy taking care of other people and pleasing and doing for others and putting yourself last and, being what's expected and blah, blah, blah. And we no longer have the capacity to do that because our emotional, that box that I was talking about that's on the shelf, it is full. And it is now like, you cannot slam the lid closed any longer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think because we're so scared of grief as a collective, we have this fear of grief that when it happens, we don't label it as that. So then we don't deal with it as that. And then it never gets fully dealt with or processed, like however you think about your emotional work, right? It never gets fully processed. And so, especially when we find ourselves in times like we are now, where on a global level, there are so many things to be grieving, right? Whether it's the economy, what's happening politically, what's happening with loss of freedoms. And this is happening not just in the US. I'm in Canada. It's happening less here. We seem to be in a little bit of a bubble for now. But the environment, right? The collective lack of connection, the amount of animosity, the amount of sort of that tribal sense of us and them and othering and blaming. And oh my gosh, there is so much going on that's hitting our nervous systems and creates loss. Right. Whether it's our loss of just the sense of how the world worked. Like for most of us, that blew up during COVID. We were on this path. We thought we knew how the world worked. All of a sudden, as a planet, right? In my lifetime, that's our first real planetary collective experience. I didn't live through any of the great wars. That was before my time. So we're having this collective planetary experience. And all that was happening in the media was talk about getting back to normal. Well, we're going to get back to normal. We're going to open back up and everything's going to be back to normal. And I'm sitting there thinking, and even before Ben died, so Ben died September of 2020. So COVID was March 13th was the day that I was literally had my hand on the door and my boss said, don't come to work.
Yep.
So that was mid-March for most of us. He died at the end of September. So we'd had a number of waves of, numbers are awful. Numbers are a little bit better. You can go outside, differing rules, different places. All of that had been happening. But all of the talk was about, we're going to get back to normal. We're going to get back to normal. We're going to get back to normal.
That was the focus.
And I'm thinking normal does not exist anymore.
Exactly.
And we'd best be grieving that what was normal, which frankly wasn't that great for everybody anyway, as we saw, right? As became so clear to anyone who had their eyes open.
Right.
That doesn't exist anymore. And we need to be talking about how that impacts us. So that's it on a big scale, but it happens on a smaller scale all the time, where something changes, which creates a loss, and that loss brings grief. But we're so scared of grief, we don't want to call it that. We barely want to call it that when it's the loss of a loved one. We're absolutely not going to call it that when it's that, I lost my job or my product launch failed or I'm estranged from my friend or my mom and I had a big fight and I don't know if I'm talking to her right now. Like we don't call any of those kinds of losses grief, but they are. So if you're a highly sensitive person and you have lived 40-ish, 50-ish years of not calling what's happening to you grief and therefore not processing through all of the sea of emotions, the umbrella of things that happen, allowing them to be okay, holding some curiosity about what's possible, like all the things that allow us to navigate grief. Pick a model. I don't care which one that resonates for you. That's what works for me and works for people that I work with. But, if we haven't done any of that work along the way, by the time we get to that sort of midlife point, we're done. We're done. Like we're all joyfully joining the We Do Not Care Club. I don't know if you are following her.
I love her.
Oh my gosh. If you are a woman of a certain age, listening to this, watching this, you need to find Melanie. And there's now a bunch of offsuit pretend We Do Not Care Club accounts, which are making me angry because it's her idea. But like, we don't care because we literally don't have the capacity to pretend anymore.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, yeah, we do not care club. It's so true. And when you first started talking about this, Suzanne, this particular, part about grief and how you're 40 or 50 and your box is full.
Yeah.
Things are flowing out. Do you remember, I think it was Brene Brown that had this like poem or whatever. It's something about midlife is the point in time where midlife grabs you by the shoulders and it's like, hey, we are not messing around anymore. right?
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about. That's what that
Yeah.
reminds me of.
Like we're not kidding. This is serious and you
Yeah.
have some work to do.
Whew. Wow. Well, when a woman in midlife, or even not, experiences grief,
Mhm.
loss of a loved one, right? Or
Mhm.
experiences grief as in terms of, loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of when they notice that, or when they think that might be happening, what should they do next?
Well, call me, obviously.
Obviously.
What's really magical about emotions is just by naming them, we help them keep moving. So one of the things that I talk about, even as a way, someone asked me on a podcast ages ago now, like what we could do to prepare ourselves.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's a lot we can do to prepare ourselves, except get better at emotional navigation, emotional intelligence, emotional resilience, all of the emotional things that, especially as women of our generation, and I think, probably the 10-ish years are on either side. My daughter's a little bit younger. She's in her early 30s. Oh my gosh, which is horrifying. I don't even understand how that happened. Anyway, her generation's better at it, but we've been really conditioned to be good girls and people pleasers. That's just how we were safe in the world.
Such a malarkey.
But that kept us safe. So blessings. Thank you for keeping me safe. I no longer need to be kept safe that way. But what it meant is we denied our emotions a lot. We especially weren't allowed to be angry. Any of those bad emotions, we weren't allowed to have those. So if you are feeling like, oh my gosh, I just had something change and that change led to a loss, and I wonder if what's going on for me is grief.
Yeah.
Getting really comfortable with naming those emotions at the nuanced level. So I send people to a feelings wheel. Feelingswheel.com has a great one. I don't need to make one. You need to find yourself a feelings wheel, because we need to get past I'm mad. That's not nuanced enough. We need to know that I'm frustrated and I might be, maybe I'm intimidated, or maybe I'm exhausted, or maybe I feel despair. Like maybe I feel joy. Maybe I feel peaceful. Like there's a million words. And the more we can get at the nugget of what it really is, the more we can allow it to keep flowing and not end up in our overfull box. The other thing that I think we really need to understand, and where I'm doing a lot of focus work right now with people, is around the brain fog.
Oh, yeah.
That foggy brain, which comes for us in menopause, also comes for us in grief, right? I remember thinking like, I have some kind of instant onset brain disorder because my brain literally does not work. And I was scared to tell anybody. I was asking my daughter the other day, actually, as I've been talking about this more, and I said to her, like, did we ever talk about that? Because we talked a lot about everything. We had very open communication. And she said, no, we never talked about that. Because I was so scared. I didn't want to burden her with, oh my gosh, at any moment now, I'm going to have to go to the brain ward of the hospital because I couldn't tell my boss. I wasn't telling anybody at work. So that really was the only piece that I kind of navigated by myself until I found out that it was normal, very reasonable response. Your brain, if you like to nerd out on that kind of stuff, there's an amazing book called The Grieving Brain, which I just love so much, and literally explains to us what our brain is busy doing. It's actually having to reprogram itself. So it really is mashed potatoes in our head because it's busy writing new neural pathways, right? But if you can build a support system around that brain, that also makes a huge difference.
Okay.
How do you do that?
So, I mean, a million things.
The mini version
so the mini version. So one of the things that really happens when you have foggy brain, especially if it's associated with grief, is it disrupts our association with time. Right? Time doesn't make sense to us. We often don't know what day it is. We don't, like when you're talking about, having to take the garbage out on Friday. I often say to people, if it's someone in your neighborhood, please go knock on their door and say, when I'm taking my cans out, can I take out yours too? Because I know you probably don't even know what day it is. And you're going to miss garbage day. Like, help the griever down the street, help, because they don't know they're supposed to get their cans out today. Just go take their darn cans out. Anyway, but that sense of time. So what I ended up discovering was that, there's two magical things in my little computer in my pocket that work brilliantly together. So in my calendar, the electronic one, because I don't know where my paper one is, because that's how foggy brain works. The electronic one that lives in my pocket has every single thing in it. I need to make a phone call. I have a doctor's appointment. I have a podcast recording. I have a meeting, all of the normal things you would put in there. And like, don't forget to give the dog his medication today.
Yeah.
Right. Everything goes into that calendar. And the last thing I do at night before I roll over to read my book and fall asleep is I set alarm reminders for everything on that calendar the next day. So think about, even if you're not grieving and you don't realize that you have a foggy brain, think about how much time you spend wondering, when is that appointment? Is that tomorrow? What time am I supposed to be at the place? When do I need to leave by? Blah, blah, blah. We spend so much of our cognitive energy worrying about stuff related to time, but you can make the computer do it. Like, if I know that everything is in the calendar because I vigilantly put things in there, and I know that the night before I'm going to set my day up for success, I don't have to think about that at all. And when I hit that track, that well-laid path in my brain, and I go, what time is my next meeting? I can say to myself, you don't have to think about that because the alarm will go 10 minutes before to remind you.
Beautiful.
Right? So it's simple things like that. So it's being aware of, where am I really feeling the impact? And what tools, what skill gaps can I fill? What people can I rely on to support that part that's struggling? Time is a big one, right? Changing our mindset around delegating. Like in my job, I could not do all the things that I used to do. I just couldn't. So because I knew I couldn't, and I was grieving out loud, and I got a lot of grace because it was the loss of a child, I delegated like so many things. And the interesting thing was, the people I delegated to were people who were like, oh, I really love that I'm helping the department more, or I really love that I have this new responsibility, like that had been wanting some opportunities for growth that I had been denying them by holding on to those tasks that did not require me to do them, that were easily done by somebody else. Because we have to preserve the capacity that we have for the things that only we can do.
Yeah.
And not waste it on stuff that's like, I did not need to be the person at the time going around putting all the signs in the trucks that said what truck they were. Yeah. Here's the file. This is what it changed to, from me creating the signs, printing the signs, getting someone to laminate the signs, and putting the signs in each of the trucks. I gave the document with the signs from the previous the previous set of trucks to someone who loved working on the computer. Excellent. Update them to this list. Nice. They then got them laminated, passed them off to someone else who was like, oh, I'd love to take that on for you. So it gave other people opportunities to do cool things.
Yeah.
But if we can't get our mindset away from, I'm supposed to be able to do it all, I'm not supposed to ask for help, independence is the pinnacle of accomplishment, which is all malarkey, and we cannot support our grieving brain. And we need to. Yeah. That foggy brain, it needs a support structure.
It does.
I know Wendy's like, oh my God, my brain needs a support structure.
No, I've been there. And the foggy brain is not fun.
No, it's not cute. There is nothing about it that's cute. It's just like, you're a perpetual hot mess. So your emotions are out of control. Your body doesn't work right because your digestion's a muck. You can't sleep, or you sleep too much. You're not eating, or you eat too much. Your nervous system's all wacky. You're clumsy, and your brain doesn't work. This is it's not for the faint of heart, but it is a universal part of the human experience. So we best learn how to do it better.
Right.
So I don't even know how to put this. So my dad is 81. He's got a couple friends who, either, some of his old army friends are passing, whatnot. He has one old army friend whose wife passed recently, and she did so much for him. And like, he is just not doing well, and it's like seeing my dad see these people going through this. And it's interesting because he's starting to probably have those more mortal thoughts of like, oh gosh, what happens if I outlive, or vice versa, is there advice you have, one, as a daughter navigating, watching him and supporting him through his emotions, but also like, yeah, when you're at that stage where it's like, you're up there, and, suddenly things are shifting.
Yeah, I really think the more we can talk about what's true and what's real, that's where we build that connection, right?
Right.
So, and I don't know your relationship with your dad, and so, but what if you said to him, "Wow, Dad, I'm really watching what's happening now so much more regularly to the folks in your life, and I worry a little bit that must be scary, and I wonder if that feels scary, because gosh, it makes sense to me that would be scary." So if you can kind of normalize what's happening for them, and because what's happening for him is normal, but because we don't talk about it, we don't know it's normal, and then we feel like we're the only one it's ever happened to, or that it's happening to, and there's something wrong with us. We have all these silly stories because we don't talk about it. But if you could have a conversation with him, and what if you had a conversation about, well, like, what would we do? If Sally passed before you, who provides you all this amazing support, what could we do? What would fill that gap? What would, because we can have proactive conversations in a different way than we have any level of comfort, which is not at all, with conversations after the loss has happened. But we can have them ahead of time, right? And be like, wow, like, would it be interesting to you to have someone who came in on a regular basis if that happened? Like, if you felt lonely, what about having someone who came in to visit? Like, I don't know. There's a million conversations we could be having,
Really,
that we're scared to start.
Correct.
And if we never start them, we don't find out, because you might start them and he might say, "Oh, I don't ever want to talk about that ever."
Right.
And then at least
right.
Yep.
And then you have those conversations maybe with siblings or a partner or someone who's been through it. And you have those conversations other places to create your plan for what you might offer or do. But if you can be having it with the person who's directly impacted, that's the genius, because then you're not left guessing, right? I had this amazing conversation with someone recently, and they were talking about a paradigm, and I cannot trace the source because it's at this point become so popularized that it's like this YouTuber and this blog, and I can't find the like psychologist or psychiatrist or therapist who figured this out. But they talk about this idea of being from an asking family or a guessing family. And an asking family is one where it is safe to ask any question at all. The asking is always safe. And a guessing family is one where asking is rarely safe. And so many of us come from guessing families. If you can shift your relationship a tiny bit to be an asking family, and you could have that conversation with him. You could say, I had this conversation with someone recently. I said, can we just have this agreement between the two of us that we're going to be in an asking relationship? That it's always safe to ask. The person who's being asked gets to say no. They don't need to answer, but it's always safe to ask. Because if you can ask, then we're not expending all our energy guessing.
Correct.
Because then you're making an initial guess, and then you're making a guess based on a guess, and then it's a guess based on a guess based on a guess. Like, we're so far down an imagined rabbit hole of shenanigans that has nothing to do with reality. And and then we're going to have our conversation from there. It just makes no sense at all, right? But if you can shift a little bit to like, I'd really love to have a conversation about this, Dad, because it's making me a little bit nervous. And I wonder if it's making you nervous too. And maybe if we just talked about it, it wouldn't feel so nervous. Then what shifts? Like, so much. That's what I would do. Start a conversation.
Yeah. It actually started with a conversation where he just started talking to me about it. And I was like, oh, cool. That's great.
I love an 81-year-old dad that has done some software updates. Bless him. Because he didn't grow up having those conversations. At 81, there's no way he grew up in the 40s or the 50s having those conversations. Not a chance. So he has done some software updates. That is awesome. I love that.
Software updates. Go, Dad.
Right? That's so great.
Yeah, he has. He has done some. Yeah.
I love that.
He's an interesting fella. Yeah. It's interesting to me because like again, I think I'm a pretty old soul, and know it. So I've honestly, since I was small, I won't say no fear of death because you get yourself into a scary situation and you're like, oh God. But the concept of death does not scare me. But grief is a very different thing. Yes. So and it's interesting because like it's interesting that you had a podcast that the person asked, how can we prepare for this? Like you
Yeah.
can't prepare because you don't know who you're losing, right? Like
Or when or in what circumstances. Like you really can't do that part.
yeah, you can't because you don't know any of the circumstances. And like I remember when I was in my 20s, I had this roommate and he had moved to California and he ended up committing suicide. And my other roommate, who was very close to him, was so mad at me because I wasn't crying over it. And it was more one of those like, I was in my own grief in my own way. Just tears weren't going to come out until we actually had to have a service for them. You know what I mean? Like because it's like that's when it's like really real when I haven't seen you for months. It's yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah. Hey, Jeannie. Oh my gosh, you and Suzanne mash. That's awesome.
Oh my
I know, right? Look at us.
I thought I put the thing on. Damn it.
The waiting room.
Yeah, I thought I put the waiting room on, but we are still recording. Okay.
It's all good.
Jeannie, can you put your screen off and I'll make it so that we can't see you? Maybe.
You're gonna work your magic.
I'm gonna try to technologicalize this stuff.
Yeah, Zoom has a check button for that.
We were having such an amazing conversation that we just forgot the time. Well,
there we go. But yeah, so yeah, it's just interesting how people have different responses to grief, and you can't plan how you're going to grieve, and you can't
and it's going to be different every time, and that's okay.
Exactly.
And I think the thing that fractures us apart is that sense of, you're not doing it right. Why aren't you doing it this way? Why don't you feel this thing? It's like, no, everybody gets to find their own way. And my daughter and I grieved very differently. And it was helpful for me to realize that in a weird way, we weren't even grieving the same person. Right? My son and her brother,
two different people,
are not the same person. Like it's the same human body, but my relationship with him, her relationship with him, like it's quite different. So that's, I think, a really important understanding is that if we can release that judgment about how someone else is doing it, then we can stay in community and do it together. And the other thing I was going to say when you were talking about being scared of grief is that if we start to acknowledge, as we were talking about before, that grief comes from every loss. And having those conversations, practicing, this new way of thinking about it, some of these new skills on the losses that don't feel as catastrophic or scary, then when the big scary ones come, we have a little bit more confidence in our toolbox.
Yeah.
But if we're going to show up our first go out to someone like me, who's like a grieving mom, grieving out loud, that I was never going to be a good first assignment.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But what if you showed up for a friend who lost their job, and instead of saying, like we tend to, oh, it's okay, like there's something better out there, I'll help you find a new thing. What if we said, wow, like that must be really sad, or you must have a bunch of feelings about that because this was so much of your identity and you really like the people and it became your social life and it's the structure of your day. Like you've lost a whole lot. Like, do you want to talk about that? And then pivot to the cheerleading part that we're so good at, but we skip all the emotional messy and skip right to the cheerleading. But it's the emotional messy where the magic happens.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like training wheels.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think that's the interesting thing is as midlife women who
own it, Stephanie. Say that aloud and proud. Midlifers.
midlifers. As
Nice job.
middle-aged women, especially those of us raising children, you know, like you said, we were raised by parents who did not who were raised by the silent generation. So therefore,
Right.
like they didn't talk about the things. And and then it's like kind of started talking about the things, but maybe not so much. And then now it's like now we talk about everything, but sometimes too much. But but at the same time, like that's gonna evolve our humans, and so it's gonna be
And
interesting.
imagine how much better they will be as adults because they've had some of these messy, awkward conversations at showing up for each other when it's messy and awkward. Because if we're being honest, most of the human experience has a varying degrees of
It's
messy and
messy.
awkward.
Heck yeah.
The
All it
best
is
bits
messy
are
and
messy.
awkward. Like,
Yeah.
so yes. So thank you so much for
my
being
gosh,
our
yes.
guest and sharing
Thank you.
all of this with us, like this mindset of how to be, and it's nice to know that there are people like you out there in the world to help us when we hit a wall and go, oh my God, how do I do this thing?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Find support. We're not meant to grieve alone.
No.
And you'll
Yeah.
be able to find how to contact Suzanne in the show notes. She's got workshops that are always ongoing. She's got her what do you call it? Your brain fog. What is it?
Yes. Help my foggy brain.
Help my
Help
foggy
my
brain
foggy
call.
brain.
So
I love it.
reach on out to Suzanne.
Yeah. And I love the idea of just grieving the things as they're going through our lives, like even Wendy, as coaching caretakers, like there's grief in that of like as your parent is changing, as you're so it's like there's so many parts of this process where we need support like you. So thank you, and thank you for being with us today.
Yeah. Thank
you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right. See you next time.